But of course, it needed a shadow putting in as well, a reflection. So I've managed to do that, perhaps not high contrast, strong S curve, and a bit of vignetting. And then I put some light into some of these buildings, and so I took the sun out and ended up there.
So I've reduced the number of colours in the image. I also worked with a different image to the original two, so I recropped it. Then put on fined edges, put it on top. I used the dehaze to bring in some of the contrast in the foreground. I've also cropped it slightly on the sides and obviously brought it down.
Yeah, so the first thing we did, I flipped it round because I thought the river sort of led you in, and being sort of left to right reader, I thought it would work better if you followed the river in from the left to the right. Then I cropped it into a square to get rid of the reeds on the left hand, which were now on the left hand side, so I just got one bank of reeds. Messed around with the exposure a bit and the clarity, got to there. Then I put a vignette on it. Then I converted it to black and white, and then I inverted it, make a negative, and exported it, and then opened it up again. So that's the inverted image. Flattened out the curve a lot so that I'd reduce the contrast range. And then I printed the negative, and then I printed it out on a piece of sandtech paper and ended up with that.
Oh my goodness.
That's the actual print. Got the 3 individual raw files off him and put them into Aurora HDR, and then just selected one of the presets, which was this one, which I think did quite a good job of the foreground, I thought, but it's put too much banding in the sky. It's put a bit of a funny halo around the sun, which is a problem I've had with HDR photographs before.
Put some really strong curves on it to make it really saturated. I clipped the bottom and the top, and I was trying desperately to change the sky, but it was far too complicated for me to do because I've never done it before. And this is what I came up with. It's just different, it's garish. I changed it to sort of evening look, brightened all the bottom area, the mist in, got the sun to look like a moon, I hope. And that was all I could do really. And that's another sort of crop version. But
you found something different there. Yeah, I had a play with various settings, white balance, auto, texture, and I came up with that. But I thought, well, that's okay, but it's not doing enough for me. So I went to a program called Perfect Effects. So Perfect Effects, I went for a bleach bypass filter, which I quite liked. Sort of almost going for old postcard look. And then I went for a mono in the NIX software with a bit of a frame again, sort of more postcardy look. I didn't think of cropping that one. Quite a bit of cropping, and I changed the colour tone, so I changed the white balance to make it a cooler image altogether. And I just rather liked the sort of almost curve of this hillside. Took the sun right out, tried to make the mist more obvious, and just really wanted to focus on this bottom bit.
And this is what I ended up with. So I have changed the sky, and I did a select by colour. And then if you use the refine edge in the select and mask, you can actually get it to work around all the leaves and stuff. I also did a bit of painting, so light painting. Brushed see the grasses there. I brightened them up to make it look like there was a bit more light. Brightened it around here to make it look like that there was some light coming in from the right hand side, and then I cropped it to that. So that's what I did to it in Lightroom, starting from the HDR file. So it came in like this, but I decided to give it a bit more oomph and get the blacks down a bit. But then I went into Photoshop. I also used Topaz Studio, well, some detail enhancing stuff. That's what came out of Lightroom. But then by accentuating the fine and the medium detail, I managed to get that out of it.
Well, that is the image I got from Lightroom. I really struggled with the dark areas down towards the bottom there. The only changes I've really made are to try and bring the shadows up as far as I could, and to bring out some of the detail in the sky and bring out some of the blue. That is completely different. It's brought out a lot more detail in the dark parts, Whether people like the rest, I don't know, but it's different. That's my attempt at the other one. I thought there is that there didn't seem to be a focal point as such. So what I tried to do was to create one. I put in some ducks. I'm not quite sure that those have worked well, but they're there. And then I tried to, I put a graduated filter in, one at the top, one at the bottom, because I didn't like the light areas at the top and the bottom. And then I darkened the corners as well to try and focus the eye into the middle.